Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Money Multiplier with Kim. Today's part two of my conversation with my special guest, Boris Kirilov. And today we're going to learn the benefits of using his platform, Go Perform. Stay tuned, everyone. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Money Multiplier Pro with Kim. Today's my part two with my special guest, Boris Kirilov, teaching us how to fine-tune our business. Today, he's going to tell us why his approach is so effective for business owners. Welcome, Boris. Thank you for coming back.
Hi, everyone. Welcome.
Great. I really appreciate it. I love that first part. We learned so much from that. And today, we really want to dive into how your approach is really effective for these clients to increase their profits. So maybe you can tell us a little bit, you know, how your approach is effective and how it's helping business owners.
Well, that's a good question. There are two things that I need to mention. First one, we are focusing on small changes. That means you do not have to restructure or rebuild your business from the scratch. We just fine tune small parts, which takes little to no efforts. Saying that, I have in mind that all those little things, they stack and multiply. That's quite an easy example with leads and conversions, right? If you increase your leads by 10%, that means you have, if everything stays the same, your profits at the same level plus 10%, right? And if you increase your leads and your conversions by 10%, that means you have another client to deal with, right? And that's how things multiply. More transactions with current clients, that means you have more clients and more transactions, they multiply. This is why these small things are very effective. They are easy to do, and in the end, it feeds your pocket a lot.
And that, I mean, I love when you say multiply, hence money multiplier. So when, I take money and multiply it, right? I find money and then we multiply. You find clients, and then you teach them how to, work and grow that client. And you go and find the next client. You multiply that business and you do the same thing over and over again. And that's how your business grows, right? And that's same concept that I try to follow is, we make money grow, right? We take bad habits and change them into good habits, right? And I think that is extremely important when we're dealing, not only, I mean, obviously I'm in the money realm, but when you're dealing with the client, it's like fine tuning a client, right? You're fine tuning them to have these good
habits,
practices, right? Good habits. That's the word I was looking for. Good habits to be able to really focus on growing their business instead of just, kind of going in every day and doing the same thing and never getting a better outcome. It's like, I always say when you beat your head against the wall 1,000 times, you expect a different outcome. It just doesn't happen, right? You just have to, you have to change your mindset. And I think that, I think I love it. And when you say multiply, that like got my ears right away. I love it. It's great.
Yeah, so the other thing that makes this approach effective is, as you mentioned, we are the set of habits, right? There are bad habits and there are good habits. Most of our time is eaten by bad habits. And if you, well, basically, the 80-20 rule, right? 80% of results comes out of 20% of your time. So why is our approach effective? Because this is the framework for your 20% of your time to invest, and that provides results. And it's easy to do because you do not have to change yourself a lot.
I like that. I mean, I think the key here, and especially for me, I don't know about everybody else, but that minimal effort, that word minimal is great. I think being able to implement your strategies and your approach with not a lot of time taken out of their day, I think business owners find that attractive, right? Because they're you if you come to them and say, "Hey, I'm going to need to take an hour out of your day every day for you to learn this," they're going to be like, no, I'm not doing that because I don't have an hour. I don't have 10 minutes. I don't have whatever." But if there's something that you can teach them that they can do very simply without a lot of effort, like we had said, I mean, I think that right there is just attractive enough to a business owner to say, "Hey, Boris, I need that conversation, right? I need to talk to you because I need to know how to do this." Because right now, every second of my day, and I think in their minds, every second of the day is taken up that by that. But how many times a day do you kind of lose your focus and start doing things that you don't even pertain to your business? You know, you get on Facebook or you answer a call from, somebody, a personal friend or whatever that may be, and you kind of lose that momentum that you have when you start on a project or start something, and you kind of lose that momentum because, like you said, you lose your concentration. I think concentration is a big part of, what you're trying to teach, a business owner here.
Right. Basically, concentration is the key word, and well, perhaps you deal with it. The biggest issue nowadays is procrastination, right? And
Yes.
if you are trying to do something unfamiliar to you, or which you the area that you do not have a lot of experience in, the procrastination probability grows like exponentially. But to deal with that, you need to know the first step. Just make the first one little step,
Mhm.
and then you will get into it, and the chances that you accomplish this small task,
Mhm.
they are great. Uh,
But I think when you see results too, and I think that's really important, it's like trying to lose weight, right? If you don't lose weight right away, everybody gives up and said this doesn't work and they move on to the next thing. But if you just take a few minutes to just dedicate that time and just be persistent about what you're doing, then, people like that instant gratification. That's the word I was looking for, instant gratification. So like if you want to lose weight, if I don't lose 5 pounds in the first 2 days, I'm already discouraged. So if I don't see a result in the first week, and then I'm like, oh, this doesn't work, and we move on to the next. So, we try to teach people, how to just be persistent, like you said, just stay with it, be, consistent with what you're doing and have some type of direction. I think that's important as well, is to have a goal in mind. And I know that's probably part of what you teach people is, what is the end result here? What is this gonna get me? Right? And I think that falls
right.
into your 5 categories, you know.
And just a small addition, before we go to the goal setting, the first thing we need to know is where we stand right now. That is why the first letter of our framework, magic, is measure your current position, measure your results.
Right.
Uh, the keyword is focusing on something like, where do I need to measure? Let's say we're dealing with whatever, cutting costs.
Mhm.
uh, which is huge idea of like, I need to cut my cost. How do I deal with that? Well, I don't know. I'm gonna make the dishes. I won't think about, but you will be constantly losing your energy of, I need to cut costs. How can I do that? And
Mhm.
that will drive you crazy. If you have a measure like, right now I'm spending this amount on my business, and that's where goal comes in place. If I reduce this amount by 3%, that means 3% in my pocket. It goes straight to the profits, right?
Mhm. Yep.
Here we go. We have the measure, we have the goal, and we can track the dynamics.
And I
Uh,
think that's important too, like what you said, is understand where you are currently, right? Because you can't really figure out where to go if you don't even know what your current situation is, right? Where is it that your business is lacking most? And your steps, which is the one I should focus on the most, right? Maybe, like you said, that cost reduction, that's where we start, right? Because that gives us the ability to be able to maybe get more leads or maybe do things that right now I can't afford to do, which is hindering me from my business growing. So understanding your business is key to anything in life, really, is understanding your situation and understanding, and then having, like you said, a direction to be able to, where do we start from here and where do we go from here?
Right. Basically, if we take uh, an example of a business, let's say $100,000 of revenue per year,
Mhm.
we can and 20% of profits, right? We
Mhm.
can double their profits by just making two things: reducing their costs and increasing their prices.
Mhm.
5% here and there, and the profits are doubled. Do they need me to do that? No. Do they need to be focused on that? Yes, they can take that magic framework and follow
Mhm.
the steps and get the result. Here we go. You have the fuel to implement more changes in your business because you
Mhm.
understand it works.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and I think that's really the key. I mean, if if you show them, I mean, like you said, people can do this on their own, but do they really do it on their own? No,
No.
because they don't. I mean, let's be realistic. You can lead a horse to water, you just can't make them drink it. It's just a matter of, you're I know for my instance, if I have someone sitting in my ear and chirping in my ear and saying, "Kim, you need to be doing this. Kim, you need to be doing that," it keeps me on task. But when, I'm sitting in my office by myself, especially when you work from home, it's very easy to lose focus. It's very easy to, start doing something else that you shouldn't be spending time on at that particular moment. But having someone like yourself saying, "Okay, this is what you need to be doing. This is what you should do." Maybe 10 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day. Do this 5 minutes a day. Every single day. When you go in the office, you put your lights on. This is the first thing I need you to do every single day. And make that a religious thing that you need to, this is the steps you need to do every day. Just before your day even starts, before all the craziness begins, you know, take these couple things to dedicate to your business just for 5 or 10 minutes, not a lot of time, to be able to make this process work. So is
Right.
that a good
Uh, since you mentioned it, actually, my job is a blend of consulting and coaching.
okay.
So it's not just telling you what to do, it's helping you to understand why it is important. How can you do that? How can you accomplish it? And what result can you expect? All these things to someone that looks obvious, but our mind is not structured, it's not trained to see all these things at once.
No. Mm-mm. No,
So
that's the that's the downside because, like you said, as a business owner, our minds are always on to the next thing, or we're, oh my God, I got to call that person. Oh my goodness, I have to go write that invoice out, or I have to do this and I have to do that. And your mind deviates you from what the task at hand needs to be accomplished because all these things start flooding in, and it kind of deviates from what direction you're going in. So maybe you can share with us maybe like a success story, if I can say that right, success story or some case study where you've helped a client and they've gotten, some significant impact on their business.
sure thing. But before I go
Mm,
into it, just
sure.
a small present for your listeners.
Okay.
It's a recipe. Uh, well, let's say to increase the chances of success. If your calendar is full of tasks and you don't have a separate like time for yourself or stuff like that, uh, it means that you are planning a failure.
Hmm.
Uh, the key, well, it's my experience and experience of many of my colleagues. You you have to plan only 60% of your working time because other 40% will be taken by urgent calls, some
Hmm.
situations, and whatever. If you are planning more than 60% of your time, you are planning a failure.
Right. I mean, that's
So
that's great. I love that. That's great.
yes,
That's a great suggestion.
60% is the border, well, at least for myself, where I can handle my time effectively.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion. I love it. I like pack my day sometimes, and it's like and if one thing goes wrong that day, it sets the whole day off, and you're already your day's already shot. So that's a great suggestion. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. I really appreciate that.
Ask for
And I think,
success stories. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So success stories. Yes, I want to hear that. That I got to hear. I love that.
Uh,
Love
basically,
hearing stories.
it is hard to select the most, like, visible one, or the one that should demonstrate the success of approach. But well, let's say recently I was dealing with a car dealership, used
Hmm.
cars, body shop, and well, the organization works like this: they buy cars, they uh, do the service for their clients in the mechanic shop, and they sell cars in the showroom.
Hmm.
So the thing is, the owner actually didn't know the numbers, how much it costs to prepare the car, the average car, to be sold, how much time it consumes for the car from the point of buying to the point of it is ready to be sold. And all those, like, little things, they stack, and in the end of the day, the person was unable to manage the business. It was just like a black box. You put money in, there is some money falling out, and if you compare those, well, if this pot is bigger, you're okay.
Hmm. Right. It's like if
Uh,
I'm making a profit, okay. But you know what? It's funny you say that because I deal with a lot of business owners, and so many people have no clue like what it actually costs them to do that service and how much they're actually making at the end of the day. And when you really lay it out for them and they see it black and white, they're amazed. They're shocked at, what do you mean that's how I'm, and I always get this question, this response is like, well, I make all this money. Where's it all go? Because that right away tells me that they don't understand how their business runs. And how can you be successful if you don't understand how much you're making on each sale or each service that you're selling to a client? I mean, that's basic, not, that's basic owning a business, that you need to
right,
know that. And so many business owners don't know that.
exactly.
It's
So,
amazing.
and adding basic stuff like, bundling services or offering
Hmm.
packages, that makes a huge difference.
Hmm.
If we deal with our approach, we have a special instrument that allows to evaluate the effect of small changes. Like, if you have services like this gentleman, what if you add bundles to your offer? Will this increase your profit or not?
Hmm.
Uh, well, it turned out it provided like 7% increase in profit just by adding a few points in
Hmm.
his offer.
Yeah.
And these small changes literally didn't cost him a dime, because just writing on a whiteboard, in addition to this car, you can
Yeah.
add a 20% discount on the
Right.
service,
Hmm.
that provides a bump in his sales.
Well, even offering like a small like incentive, right? Like, oh, if you buy a car from me, you'll get your first oil change for free, or we'll give you 20% off your first service here, or something that's going to keep that client from coming to come back to you, right? Something that's, not necessarily like buying a car. You buy a car, okay, you're not buying a car every day, right? You're not buying a car every month. So the next time they're looking to buy a car, you want them to come to you. So maybe there's some, you have service, right? You want them to come bring that car to you so you can continue business with that client. So that means that you're taking that one client and getting more business than just selling that car, right?
Exactly.
So I think, yeah, I mean, and that's great. I mean, just adding one little thing. People love incentives. People love it. I'm going to give you 20% off your next oil change. Oh, you know what? You bought the car from me. Your first oil change is on me. And people remember that. So when the next oil change come, they're going to come to you, right? They're going to say, hey, you know what? That guy gave me a free one. I'm going to go back to him and he did a great job. Right. And I
Yeah,
think, that little things build your business just because you added that one little thing that they were appreciative of. And it didn't cost you much to do it, right? But that'll give you repeat business. So, and is with anything that we do. But Boris, thank you so much. That was great information. I love, the little tips that you share with us today. How can everybody get a hold of you in case they want to use your services?
Well, we have a website, goperform.pro, or just drop me an email, boris@goperform.pro, and I will answer.
Great. Great. Thank you so much. Again, thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate it. And thank you everybody for joining us today. Have a great day.